Hello everyone and thanks for joining us. This is AMECO Hover English service and you're watching our daily updates. I am Gaila Damu. Stay tuned. Prime Minister Abiy holds telephone conversation with President Erdogan. Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed held telephone conversation with Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan on key bilateral and multilateral issues. Prime Minister Abiy tweeted that he held a candid phone call with President Recep Tayyip Erdogan of Turkey on key bilateral and multilateral issues. The Premier added that during the discussion, the two have explored means of growing trade relations between the two countries, as well made a commitment to work together on fighting terrorism. Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed commends ambassadors who served Ethiopia on world stage. Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed admired Ethiopian ambassadors that have served the country on the world stage. According to the Premier, to serve one's nation so admirably is an honor. It is to be recalled that Deputy Prime Minister and Foreign Minister of Ethiopia, AMECO, presented certificates of recognition to the ambassadors who have returned to Ethiopia after serving their terms in their respective countries of deployment last week. The recognized ambassadors were Alam Zahai Meseret, Meles Alam, Taye Azqeselase, Tashome Toga, Alamayew Teganu, Abdul Fattah Abdullahi, Suleiman Dadafo, Zenebe Kabede, Retta Alamu, Tezita Mulugeta, Mulu Salamon, Wenshet Tadese, Henok Tefera, and Hazen Taju. Police and Peace and Security Department of Bahir Dar City Administration disclosed that all the necessary preparations have been completed to make the stay of tourists peaceful and safe. Modomuliye reports.
January is one of the most eventful months of the year for the Amhara region. It begins with Genna, the birthday celebration of Lord Jesus Christ, and goes on to Tumkat, the festivity of the Ethiopian Epiphany, and Azarus. Both domestic and foreign tourists travel into the region to be part of these colorful events. In the capital city of the region, Bahir Dar is one of the tourist-targeted destinations. For the upcoming religious and public holidays, a large number of tourists are expected to flow into the city. Bahir Dar City Administration Police Department and the city's Peace and Security Department issued a joint press release focusing on the city's preparation to welcome tourists from all corners and the peace and security workers. Bahir Dar City Administration Peace and Security Department Chief Adaragash stated that the city of Bahir Dar and its surrounding is free from any kind of peace and security threats.
ያለምንም ስጋት ያለምንም ችግር ባህር ዳር ከተማ ላይ መጥተው ተዝናንተው በዓላትን አክብረው መመለስ ይችላሉ.
Without any kind of threat or problem, our tourists, both domestic and foreign, may come and enjoy staying in our beautiful city and being a part of our wonderful religious and public holidays. There is nothing for our guests to worry about here. Our security force is well oriented and fully on the standby to keep them safe and feel at home.
ምንም ስጋት ሳይገባው ያገር ውስጥም ያገር ውጭም ቱሪስት እንዲመጣ ጥሪያችን እናስተላልፋለን.
The Peace and Security Chief also said the people of Bahir Dar City and its surrounding are very hospitable and service delivery institutions and centers are fully prepared to welcome tourists from all corners. Bahir Dar City Administration Police Department Chief Commissioner Atankut Ayalio on his part said the police department is jointly working with the Peace and Security Department in order to keep the city safe and secured for tourists during their stay in the city.
ሰፊ ውይይት አድርገናል። ከዛ ደግሞ ከወደ ጣቢያና ወደ ጎጥ እንዲወርድ አድርገን
We have well organized our police and peace and security forces from up to down into a community service level. Generally, at this time, the city of Bahir Dar is absolutely peaceful for tourists to move wherever they want and to stay as long as they wish. Not only the city of Bahir Dar, but its surroundings are peaceful and secured as well. Other tourist destinations like Tis Falls and Dege Peninsula are also peaceful and well secured. Without any peace and security threat, tourists can freely move and visit these areas.
Generally, ባህር ዳር አሁን ባለው ሁኔታ ሰላሟ የተጠበቀችና ቱሪስቶች እንደፈለጉ መንቀሳቀስ የሚያስችልበት ሁኔታ የደረሰበት ሁኔታ ነው ያለው።
Ghana, the birthday celebration of Jesus Christ falls on the coming Saturday, and about 10 days after Timkat, or the Ethiopian Epiphany, is colorfully celebrated in Bahar Dar city and all over the region.
Ethiopian American Civic Council political strategist Askul Tafari said most of Ethiopian diaspora living in the United States of America are very enthusiastic about the peace agreement. Abeba Brahani tells us more.
She added that the peace agreement and the ongoing implementation process is a step towards peace, and the Ethiopian diaspora is enthusiastically looking forward to reconstruction. Askal said that the recent visit of government officials led by House of People's Representatives Speaker Taggese Chafo to Mekele is a really exciting event. She noted that all people deserve peace, adding that giving peace a chance is an admirable step. According to Askal, since war has a cascading and long-lasting effect on a country, most Ethiopian diaspora in the US want to galvanize support for the peace agreement and its implementation.
I think the diaspora is really enthusiastic about the peace agreement, where we want peace. In fact, the peace in Mekele, when we saw it is when we landed here, that day we landed, and it's really exciting. We have to give peace a chance. We can't continue to fight. The resources that are wasted, the amount of people that died, the young generation is the future generation of Ethiopia. They can't just die. It has cascading, long-lasting effect. Now that there is peace, we can look forward to reconstruction.
She said that there are countries that have become successful in bringing peace and reconciliation, South Africa being one, adding that Ethiopians can mimic their success using their own culture. Askal pointed out that the Ethiopian diaspora has played a very effective job during the war, adding that the Ethiopian diaspora is also now engaging itself in supporting the rehabilitation of war-torn places. She stressed that the peace agreement will lend itself to more support from the diaspora.
I do believe the diaspora will be galvanizing now to support in their reconstruction efforts.
According to the political strategist, the Ethiopian diaspora is very smart, strategic and highly organized. She said that the improvement in the US-Ethiopia relation is a good thing. However, after the peace process and its implementation, the government needs to revamp its communication strategy.
The Washington visit with the Prime Minister was very successful in my view, and I think the Prime Minister won that by that trip, meaning that they were sitting around on the couch and watching a soccer game. That those pictures told great story of peace and prosperity to come to Ethiopia from the United States government. So that's very successful. We need a very good, solid communication strategy with the United States. Strengthening our relationship with the United States is key. I really do believe communication is part of it. We need to have communication as to what we're doing. Let the world know the good things we're doing in Mekele. For example, the delivery of the medicine. Let that be broadcasted everywhere internationally, even if you have to pay for some commercial airtime with CNN. Let that be shown. That's a good strategy of communication.
Amhara Regional State Education Bureau stated that the education sector of the region needs to get special attention. Head of the Bureau, Matabe Tafere, called upon the business community to engage in the renovation and reconstruction activity of substandard schools. Abeba Brahani has the details.
Amhara Development Association, in collaboration with the City Administration, Education Bureau, the business people and other stakeholders, has conducted a panel discussion aiming at reconstructing and renovating substandard schools found in the City Administration. It explained on the discussion that the engagement and support of the business people and the community at large would take the lion's share in renovating and improving the quality and standard of schools of the City Administration. Education Bureau Head of the region, Dr. Matev Tafara, explained that more than 85% of schools found in the city administration is below the standard. Therefore, there is a need for finance and capital to renovate the substandard schools and improve their quality. As to the explanation of Dr. Matev, the stakeholders, especially the business people, should engage in and support to improve the school's standard in Amhara region.
The school standards in Amhara region is, very low. About 84% or 85% of the schools are below standard, and this needs critical engagement, because schools are important to talk about education system in general. If you don't have schools, other things well, they can work, but very difficult to handle. So we are pushing the stakeholders to work on improving the school standards in Amhara region. And this was the main objective, by the way, to have the panel discussion.
The head also stated that only the government cannot afford the finance used for the renovation of the schools. Therefore, there would be a comprehensive strategy through which fund could be raised.
Education is a very expensive investment that the government alone cannot afford. So, to improve school standards, we need to have a comprehensive strategy which can pave the way for active involvement of different stakeholders. It could be farmers, urban dwellers, merchants, or donors, whatever it may be. We need to have a comprehensive strategy through which all stakeholders can have the share to participate on improving the school standards in Amhara region.
Amara Herui, who participated in the discussion representing Alkan College, stated that fundraising programs would be undertaken to renovate the classes and improve their standards.
The region has a critical budget deficit, so the businessmen and the people at large has to contribute to renovate these schools. We have to plan a big telethon to mobilize finance from the businessmen and the people at large. We are also proposing a modality so that the businessmen can participate as a partner in the government schools, what you call the public-private partnership. Another third modality we are proposing is to finance the matching fund. There are agencies or partners who are volunteer to build schools by the matching fund. So we have to look for that matching fund.
Deputy Chief Executive Officer of Amhara Development Association, Mezgab Andualem, on his part said that the problems facing the education sector cannot be solved unless the business people and the community at large engage in it, adding that they can support the social development endeavor in various ways.
Business firms need to contribute in terms of supporting or contributing their firm strengths by contributing social responsibility. That social responsibility may be in terms of cash, in terms of making their employees member of ADA, or in terms of constructing schools in their nearby areas, in their firms, in their factories.
Finally, the Education Bureau Head and the Chief Executive Officer of Amhara Development Association called upon the business people and other stakeholders to support the development endeavor and contribute their part to solve the problem.
Sharing is good to everything, in every aspect. So we call upon all businessmen to support our voluntary service, our development, our organization ADA.
The Education Bureau is clarifying the challenge in a way to all stakeholders. We are clarifying, we are in danger, we are in problem, we are in challenge. Come and help us, come and support us, come and take your share in this historical re-engineering process. That's my message. We will approach you, we will communicate you the challenges, and let's get closer so that we can understand each other. With that understanding, we can change the system together.
The panel discussion has been conducted having a theme, community participation for sustainable development.
World Bank pledged to strengthen technical support for Ethiopia in the health sector. Representative of the World Bank said the bank will strengthen its technical assistance to Ethiopia to make health services accessible. Fukradi Zaudu has the details.
A representative of the World Bank said the World Bank will strengthen its technical assistance to Ethiopia to make health services accessible. Ministry of Health has recognized the decade-long contribution of the bank in assisting Ethiopia's endeavor to make health services accessible to all. Speaking on the occasion, World Bank Ethiopia health economist Sagana Hamsalu said the bank will continue supporting the country in the health sector. He recalled over the last 10 years, the World Bank has been providing technical and other supports to the health insurance program in Ethiopia. The expert stated that the recognition of government of Ethiopia will help to consolidate future cooperation and support. The bank will continue to support Ethiopia to achieve its goal of creating productive and healthy citizens by improving their livelihood and expanding health services. According to him, the World Bank will cooperate with Ministry of Health to provide technical support for health insurance in Ethiopia in the coming 4 years. One of the reforms that Ethiopia has launched in the health sector is the delivery of fair and inclusive health services for all, health insurance service being one of those. Health insurance will ensure that citizens do not end up in poverty due to excessive health service costs and also not to miss health services due to lack of financial capacity. Since its implementation 10 years ago, more than 45 million citizens have benefited from health insurance.
Senior government officials called on scholars to take lion's share in nation building and durable peace. Ethiopian senior government officials have called on the elites of the country to take a lion's share in nation-building endeavors and achieving a durable peace. Fukradi Zaudu tells us more.
Ethiopian senior government officials have called on the elites of the country to take a lion's share in nation-building endeavors and achieving a durable peace. The National Consultative Forum under the theme Role of Scholars in Nation Building has been underway in various universities of the country. It was indicated that dozens of papers on political, economic and security spheres have been presented and discussed at the forums. In his speech delivered to Haramaya University scholars, Minister of Industry Malako Lebel said that scholars are expected to play their leading role in order to achieve lasting peace in Ethiopia through discussion. The minister said his government believes that scholars have a decisive role in solving the country's deep-rooted problems, noting that the consultation forums will be intensified. Malako stated that since political polarization and extreme thoughts have been a pressing issue at the national level, scholars are highly anticipated to figure out the problems and suggest solutions in their rigorous research. Accordingly, the minister pointed out a common understanding has been reached with the scholars in order to create awareness for the citizens to be part of the solution. Minister of Tourism Ambassador Nasise Chale said, on her part, intellectuals should use their knowledge and wisdom to solve the problems of the society and perform a task that will be remembered in the history of the nation. The minister, who attended the consultation forum held at Hawassa University, said Ethiopia has been registering many achievements since it embarked on the far-reaching reform despite difficulties. Nasise noted, in addition to having discussion among the political leadership, it is necessary to ensure the participation of all parties for betterment of the country's future. She further urged the intellectuals of the country to exploit their knowledge and wisdom of academics in order to create a solution to the problems by awakening and changing the society. The minister stressed that the forum being underway is vital to make use of the scholars' capacity to addressing the wide-ranging problems such as the deterioration of morale. Zadig Abraha, Democracy Building Center Coordinator Cluster Head at the Office of the Prime Minister, said the intellectuals of the country have to play their part for a strong nation-building ambition, diplomacy and economic prosperity. In order for the building of the nation to stand on a strong foundation, he urged scholars to continue the ongoing efforts in terms of development and diplomacy. Speaking at the consultation forum of scholars organized by Jinka University, Zadig noted that encouraging results have been registered in the economic, social and political sectors following the reform. Noting that Ethiopia has faced many challenges due to natural and man-made problems in the last 3 years, the head said especially the security problems in different parts of the country have become a pressing issue. He particularly mentions the unprecedented external pressure in connection with the war in the north part of Ethiopia and due to the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam being built on the Abai River. According to Zadig, international media warfare against Ethiopia has also been another difficulty to the country in recent days. He underscored, however, the Ethiopian government and people in strong cooperation have thwarted the looming threats.
You're watching AMECO Haber English service, and now let's proceed to News Beyond Borders. Nigerian President Muhammadu Buhari has signed the $21.83 trillion 2023 budget. The head of state on Tuesday in Abuja, the capital, signed off on the 8th and final annual budget of his administration, saying it was an increase of $1.32 trillion over the original execution proposal. These provisions were made for the 2023 general elections and the transition program. An imminent transition process explains why the head of state decided to sign the 2023 appropriation bill as passed by the National Assembly. This rapid signature will therefore allow its implementation to begin without delay. The 2022 supplementary appropriation bill was also signed. The President Buhari thanked the National Assembly for approving his request for an extension of its validity date to 31st March 2023. The bill enables the administration to respond to the devastation caused by the recent national floods in the infrastructure in agriculture sectors. The Ministers of Finance, Budget and National Planning will provide details of the approved budget in the 2022 Finance Act later. In order to achieve the targets set to meet the new budget, President Buhari has directed public enterprises to intensify their revenue mobilization efforts, including ensuring that all taxable organizations and individuals pay their due taxes. U.S. drops Burkina Faso from Africa duty-free trade program. The U.S. Trade Representative's Office said the decision was due to concerns over the unconstitutional change in government. Burhan Workana presents the story.
The U.S. Trade Representative's Office has said that the United States has dropped Burkina Faso from its AGOA trade preference program.
The United States Trade Representative's Office said the decision was due to concerns over unconstitutional change in government. The United States has dropped Burkina Faso from its trade preference program, citing deep concerns over unconstitutional change in government in the West African country, the U.S. Trade Representative's Office said. Frustrations over the government's inability to curb activity by armed groups spurred two military coups in Burkina Faso in 2022. The previous and current military governments have made efforts to beef up security, but the attacks have continued. The African Growth and Opportunity Act (AGOA) provides sub-Saharan African nations with duty-free access to the United States if they meet specific eligibility requirements, including making progress towards political pluralism. The United States Trade Representative's Office said Burkina Faso had failed to meet the requirements of the AGOA and would be given clear benchmarks for a pathway towards reinstatement to the trade program, adding that Washington would work with Ouagadougou. On Monday, the Burkinabé Ministry of Foreign Affairs reacted to the decision by repeating a November statement saying the timetable for a return to democracy had not changed. Burkina Faso had committed to returning to constitutional rule in a 24 months in a July agreement with the West African Regional Bloc, ECOWAS. Burkina Faso, one of the world's poorest countries, has been in the grip of a conflict in which armed groups linked to Al-Qaeda and ISIS have killed thousands of civilians and created one of the continent's fastest growing humanitarian crises. Nearly 2 million people have been displaced who reside in makeshift camps, many run by the United Nations, that dot the arid countryside. The violence, which has rumbled on for about 7 years, has been focused in the north and east, crippling local economies, causing mass hunger, and restricting access to aid organizations. Just before Christmas, Burkina Faso's military government asked a senior UN official to exile the country. The UN contested the decision, saying the doctrine of persona non grata does not apply to United Nations officials.
That's all the news we have for today. I'm Gaila Damu. Thanks for watching and stay tuned with the rest of our programs.
Thank you.